And so our essential question is, how do I use the properties of isosceles triangles to solve for missing information? Isosceles triangles are a specific type of triangle. They are a triangle with at least two sides congruent. I'm going to change that. Two congruent sides. Legs are the congruent sides. In the picture in front of us, AC and BC are the legs because they are the ones that are marked as congruent. The vertex angle is the angle formed by the congruent sides. In the picture we have an example, angle C is the vertex. So it's this angle up here. It's the one that is between the two congruent sides. The base is the non-congruent side. In our example, AB is the base. The base angles are the two angles formed by the base and one of the congruent sides in this example, angles A and angle B are the base angles. So they each have specific names. And so as we talk about them, where they're located and the properties that are involved are specific and based on location and property. There are two theorems for isosceles triangles. The first one deals with the sides of isosceles triangles. If two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the sides opposite those angles are also congruent. So if I know two angles are congruent, then I know that the sides opposite them are congruent. For angles of a triangle, if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are also congruent. And those theorems are depicted in the picture below. So, if I know that these angles are congruent, then I can make a statement about the sides. And the same thing, if I know that the sides are congruent, then I can make a claim about the two angles. So let's start doing some examples and see how these properties apply. So for the first one, I'm given that two angles are congruent. That's what these marks mean. That means that I can say that the angle opposite, or the sides opposite those angles are also congruent. That means I can say 2x minus 3 equals 9. Now it's just a matter of solving the equation. We add 3 to both sides so that 2x equals 12. Divide by 2, and I get x is 6. For this example, I'm told that my sides are congruent. That means I can say that the angles opposite them are congruent. That means that 68 equals 4x. So that when I divide by 4, I get x equals 17. For number 3, knowing the information about isosceles triangles and these congruent sides isn't as important as knowing that the interior angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. So x plus 42 equals 180. 2x plus 42 is 180. Subtract 2x from both, subtract 42 from both sides. 2x equals 138. Divide, and I get x is 69. That means that both angles are 69 degrees, and were I to check, 69 plus 42 equals 180. So let's look at some further examples. As we look at number 4, I'm told that the angles are congruent. That means that the sides opposite them are also congruent. So that means that 2x plus 32 equals 8. So that then I get, when I subtract 32 from both sides, 2x equals negative 24. When I divide by 2, I get x equals negative 12. So remember that negatives are okay as answers to problems as long as it's not a measurement, an angle, or a measurement, because when I plug this back in, I will get 8 in that stead. Number 5, again, requires you to know that the degrees in a triangle equal 180 degrees. But it also asks you to recognize that that's where the 2x goes, 2x plus 8. And that because these two sides are congruent, these two angles are congruent. So that means that this angle is 75 as well. So then, for our equation, 2x plus 8 plus 75 plus 75 equals 180. 2x, when I combine like terms, plus 158 equals 180. Subtract 158 from both sides. 2x equals 22. Divide by 2, and x equals 11. Number 6 is very similar to number 5, except this time the algebra expression goes in two places because we're told that the two sides are the same. So this is also 2. So then I get 36 plus 80 plus x plus 80 plus x equals 180. So I have two x's. 80 and 80 is 160 plus 196 equals 180. Subtract 196 from both sides. 2x equals negative 16. X is negative 8. As we look at number 8, if this is 62, then this is 62, and 180 minus 124 equals 56 degrees. So this side is 56. Because this is a right angle, that means this is 34. Because 90 minus 56 is 34. Now I know that this is also a 2, so now I know that 34 plus 13x minus 5 plus 13x minus 5 equals 180, because we have a triangle. So 13x and 13x is 26x. 34 minus 10 is positive 24 equals 180. Subtract 24 from both sides. 26x equals 56. Made a mistake someplace. Help me find my mistake. 13 and 13. Well, given the numbers that we have, unless I've made a huge mistake, x is 2.1, which normally wouldn't be the right thing, but we've at least solved the problem in the correct manner. When we look at number 9, a lot of things are going on here. I know I'm going to have some vertical angles, so I'm going to need to know that. So let's start with, because these are congruent sides, these are congruent angles. So 180 minus 150 is 30, so this angle is 30. Because these are vertical, that this is 30, then this is 30. because these are the congruent sides and congruent angles, that means 2 is 4x minus 10. So now I know that those are congruent. That means that 4x minus 10 equals 30, because now I know those two things have to be congruent. When I add 10 to both sides, I get 4x equals 40, so x is 10. And those are the properties and how to solve for isosceles triangles.